an actor, a father, and now a person living with ALS. For over a century.
Okay, you may recognize him from shows like Grey's Anatomy and Euphoria, but now actor Eric Dane taking on a different kind of role, partnering up with I Am ALS to push for treatments and also a cure for this neurological disease. Eric Dane's family has recently been opening up about how they're navigating his ALS diagnosis, sharing it's been especially tough on his daughters. It's a painful reality, though, for so many families, and it's shining a light on the caregivers who do so much and the support they need in order to give their all. So joining us this morning is Amanda, who's a volunteer with ALS Arizona, to talk a little bit more about the challenges caregivers face and where families can turn to for help. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much.
So you actually have a personal connection to this because you were the caretaker for your father who was diagnosed with ALS. Walk me through your journey. What was it like in the first place when he was diagnosed?
Oh, it's heartbreaking. I mean, really.
Were you guys familiar with it?
We had a good sense of it. I knew it better as Lou Gehrig's disease at the time, but there was so much to learn so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, which is the same thing anyone in this situation has to deal with, that all of a sudden you're asked to step up and become a knowledge expert in something so that you can be as helpful as possible. But you're also dealing with this absolutely just, horrid emotional fallout because you realize this person that you love so much is going to go through an unbelievable challenge.
And that now you have a limited amount of time.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Absolutely. Yeah. In my case, I stepped away from the PhD program that I was in order to move back home and be there for him. We were so lucky to have him for 6 years. The standard diagnosis is 2 to 5.
Wow.
But that caregiver role, I can't, yeah.
Did you naturally step into that, or was that something you and your family members talked about and we said, hey, you might be the best person to do this? How did that come about? How'd you take that on?
That's tough to kind of remember at this point. I think there was never for me any question that if that was something that everyone was agreed upon, I was absolutely going to be there as much as I could. I never wanted to not be there for him. It was just the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, but also the thing that I'm most proud of. It's something that I was just so excited to get the opportunity to spend as much time with him as possible and to serve his needs as much as possible.
Well, we talk so much about the patient's journey and the awareness to, Lou Gehrig's, what it used to be, known as ALS, of course we're talking about. And I feel like I think right away back to the ice bucket challenge that everyone was doing to raise awareness so that it became a little bit more, kind of in common knowledge for so many people. But living it day to day, as a caretaker, that is something else that we don't talk about too much. What would you like people to know?
It's a full-time job. It is exhausting, it's draining, it's mentally taxing, it is emotionally taxing, but it's also just so physically exhausting too. I think that's something that, for me and so many millennials who are stepping into this role for their parents, I was changing diapers and helping with cleanup and doing all of these things for an adult while my peer group were starting to have their own children. And that can also be extremely isolating. That's why having caregiver support groups is so important because all of us who have to step into this role, we're overqualified in how much we care and how much we love the person that we're caregiving for, but we're so underqualified in so many ways. But we're innovators because of that.
It's really kind of like learning on the job and as you go, because you don't prepare for something like this. My younger sister is a full-time caretaker to her daughter, my niece, who has Lay syndrome, so she needs 24/7 care. And just to see her step away from her career as a nurse to step into full-time caregiving, I never experienced or saw or realized how taxing it can be physically, because you have to, move people who can't no longer move for themselves. You have to clean for them. You have to give so much of yourself and let some things go, right, that you thought your life was going to look like.
Absolutely. Yeah. And one of the things that's so hard too is why respite is so important. Like ALS Arizona provides free respite among their services and programs for caregivers because we need that opportunity to also exist in the roles we had before. Be a daughter, be a spouse, be a best friend. I had one day where I was crying about something that had, nothing to do with the situation. And my dad asked me to take his arm and put it on my back. so that he could hug
give you
me.
comfort. Yeah.
Because and he wanted that as much as I did. Like, we need those moments. We need that relief in order to also just have our relationship too.
Yeah. Well, that's beautiful. I mean, I know it just looks different, right, than maybe you thought it would, but you can still make it happen. And so as we talk about the toll this can take on caregivers who, like you said, have tons of care, they want to do it, they love you. But if you're running on empty, where do they go for support?
Oh, that's where we are so lucky in this state to have an organization like ALS Arizona, and they were there for me when I was caregiving, which is why I try to give back as much as possible.
Yeah, you volunteer a lot.
Yes, I do. It's just, I mean, everything from showing up to these incredible events, like we have our walks coming up in Tucson on October 25th and in Scottsdale November 8th. But all of that work that we do, all of that exciting energy, supports programs that help caregivers. And just having the opportunity to know that there's someone you can call, that I can't explain how much that means.
Who knows what you're going through, walking through those steps, because like you mentioned, I mean, your peers are having a totally different experience. And when you say, like, I want to ask someone about this, I don't have anyone to turn to, or even maybe just like jokes, you know, sometimes I know my sister, you know, she's like, to have those other moms who are going through the same thing, they get your humor, they get that no one else might get. But you're just in such a unique position.
And because we're not all angels all the time. We're not all inspirational all the time, right? But so when we're with each other, we can joke a little bit. We can be honest about how hard it is, and every caregiver needs that.
Absolutely, and know that even though it can get tough, you're still doing, you know, something that you want to do.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much for being here. ALS Arizona doing such amazing work for, you know, those living right here in our state. Tell us quickly where we can go to learn more about, you know, for patients care, but also caretakers. Where can we go?
Online on Instagram, Facebook, ALS Arizona, alsaz.org.
Okay, perfect. And then maybe be part of that walk happening in Scottsdale in November.
It's a blast.
I'm sure it's a good time. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it.